Team Rivalry Reaction.
Alrighty, how's it going, Big Ten football fans? This is Mackenzie with Team Rivalry. Got the Big Ten National Signing Day reaction video coming at you right now. I have some thoughts and opinions on some of the stuff that happened yesterday. It's kind of interesting looking at it. Wasn't necessarily the greatest day, I think, for any Big Ten team, honestly. I think the Big Ten recruiting-wise was kind of lackluster. Ohio State, obviously, still maintaining the number 5 spot nationally. But Oklahoma and Texas, I feel like I don't pay a lot of attention to Big 12 recruiting, but I just kind of feel like they came out of nowhere. And then obviously Alabama and Georgia at 1 and 2 is no surprise. What really caught me off guard though is how LSU, Miami, and Oregon here shot up the rankings. Like Miami, I feel like I don't exactly know how their season went, but I don't think it was particularly good. But obviously they're doing something right down there, bringing in a couple of 5 stars down at the U, and then Brian Kelly at LSU. His first season was interesting. I mean, wasn't the greatest season, but did anyone see 10 wins coming? I think it was 10 wins. If not, it was close. They beat Alabama, and that's huge. So good on them. But we got Ohio State at number 5, and the next Big Ten team is Penn State, all the way down at number 13. Even Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman coming into his second season, had a better signing class than most of the Big Ten. So really interesting developments. The USC class here is going to be super interesting since this is going to be their last year in the Pac-12, right? They're coming over in 2024 into the Big Ten. So they'll definitely be someone to keep an eye on. Where's UCLA, actually? UCLA. Oh, my. Where's UCLA? There they 38. Well, at least them and Iowa will get along. That'll be a good rivalry, UCLA versus Iowa. USC with Lincoln Riley, obviously, that's going to be really interesting to watch moving forward. But let's dig into the Big Ten specifically and see what's going on here. And since I'm in marketing, I know that saving the best for last is what keeps people watching, and that's what we want. So we're going to start with Indiana. Feel free to skip forward. I don't know if I'm going to put chapter markers in this. I might. I don't know if I'll care. Overall ranking, number 40, composite rank 67, transfer rank 8. So that means that they've got a pretty solid transfer class coming in, number 8 in the nation, I believe. Or no, number 8 in the Big Ten. I'm sorry. Right? Number 8 in the Big Ten. I got to click on this just to make sure. Number 8 in the nation. So good on Indiana. They got 4 4-stars coming in, 11 3-stars. So definitely not a terrible class considering that the transfer portal isn't exactly known for, at least this year anyway, known for a lot of movement among the 5-stars. Obviously, Deion Sanders at Colorado's got something figured out with this right here. He's got a 5-star coming in. He's got 24 transfers coming in. He's got a roster full of transfers. So good job to Deion Sanders. But overall ranking is number 40. We'll see where they come in just on the national landscape here. So Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, in between them, that's kind of the class that they're looking at. What all do they have? They've got, looks like a safety, Amar Farrell, a safety from Florida, Sam West, a tight end, Tariq McDaniel, safety, Brock Lowry, a quarterback. That's going to be interesting because Jack Tuttle just transferred to Michigan, and what's the other quarterback's name? Connor Bazelak? Did he declare for the NFL? I think he did. But in any case, Indiana's season didn't exactly go really well for them. So this is an interesting class because, I feel like they're really going to need this help on defense, but they also needed some help on offense. And we can take a quick look at their season very quickly because we're already 4 minutes into this video and I want to go through everybody. So Indiana obviously started strong with that win against Illinois, and then somehow or another got a couple of scored 30 points in 2 straight games after that, and then got walloped by Cincinnati. And then Nebraska got a rare win, but then they just kept losing. Actually, pretty close games, all things considered, except for Ohio State. But they kept everything else pretty close. So really, it's the offense that needs a lot of help. And this class doesn't exactly scream offensive production to me. And obviously, they're all coming in as, freshmen, so they're going to need a couple of years development anyway, and that's only if they can hang on to them. If they end up doing well and then having some sort of transfer portal stock raised, and they end up, transferring to other Big Ten teams or maybe over towards the Pac-12 or down to the SEC where they can get a few more touches. But in any case, that's Indiana for you. That's going to be an interesting class to watch. I don't necessarily think it's going to be what they need, but we'll keep an eye on them. Purdue's 2023 class. Transfer rank 62, not good. Composite rank 65, overall rank 67. So, yeah, I mean, that puts them solidly at the bottom of the Big Ten with Indiana, like we were just looking at. I think the biggest thing for them is going to be quarterback with, goodness gracious, why am I forgetting so many names? Aiden O'Connell is off to the NFL now, I believe. So we've got Ryan Brown coming in. Do they have any transfers coming in at quarterback? I don't think so. Oh, Hudson Card. Hudson Card from Texas is coming in. I did not know that. Okay, all right. So that could actually be really interesting for Purdue, but obviously Purdue just lost their coach to Louisville. Jeff Brom is down in Louisville now. So it'll be interesting to see what the new coach does, and I cannot remember his name either. Clearly names are not my forte. Coming over to the team rivalry site, though, we can see they started the season off pretty interestingly against Penn State and then had a solid win against Indiana State. Penalties destroyed them against Syracuse, but they went on quite the run here, except for a couple of losses against Wisconsin and Iowa, which should have tossed them out of the Big Ten championship title game, but obviously everyone else in the West Division kept losing as well, which meant that they had to play Michigan in the Big Ten title game, and they lost that in blowout fashion, and then lost to Louisiana State, LSU, in blowout fashion as well. So they're going to need some help rebuilding that offense, trying to do some sort of a reload thing there. I don't think they're necessarily going to get it. It's going to be a rough season down in West Lafayette, unfortunately. Sorry, Purdue fans. All right, moving right along, we've got Wisconsin. Wisconsin, 2023. Let's see. Overall, 37. Composite rank, 58. Transfer rank, 15. Now, I did hear that Wisconsin had a decent transfer class coming in that I believe included a quarterback from somewhere. Well, it wasn't this guy, but apparently they do have a quarterback coming in. Tanner Mordecai from SMU, I believe that is. And then Nick Evers from... Oh, wow. Oh, no, you know what it was is Grant Mertz transferred to Florida. That's what it was. I kept thinking, I thought they had a transfer, from Florida or something like that. But no, Grant Mertz transferred to Florida. So, goodness gracious, yeah. So Luke Fickell kind of taking the transfer portal route to rebuild an entire roster. Coming in at number 15, composite rank number 58. So their actual recruiting class of true freshmen wasn't necessarily the greatest. Let's see if we scroll. I don't want to scroll. We got a couple of 4 stars. We got 3 4 stars, and then the rest are pretty much all 3 stars. But, these are guys that I think definitely can be developed. And obviously Luke Fickell is a development kind of guy because he took Cincinnati to the college football playoff, and I'm pretty sure he did that without a single 5-star, maybe a couple of 4 stars, but I'm betting that team was mostly built on 3 stars, so that'll be interesting to watch. Wisconsin's season did not go the way that they were hoping, and I couldn't tell you what exactly this team needed because there were some weeks like Ohio State and Illinois where they just really couldn't score much, and then other weeks where, Northwestern, Purdue, and I guess Oklahoma State where they scored enough. So pretty much the entire team needed some help there, unfortunately. So going to be an interesting watch in Madison this year. Rutgers, where am I at? Almost 10 minutes. I am probably going to need to do a part 2 to this video. And that's okay because that means that I can have something to post later this week or tomorrow or something. I don't know. Rutgers. Yikes. Yikes. Transfer ranking, number 186. So they're bringing in... Well, this guy's not even ranked. Oh, from high school? Oh. Well, that's interesting. Western Illinois, Akron, Ole Miss. I have no idea who this is. Oh, Northern Illinois. and then Minnesota. Huh, interesting. So 2s and 3 stars. Definitely can do some development kind of stuff with that. A 3-star, Jake Eldridge. What's an LS? Uh-oh. What is an LS? Why don't I know that? Linebacker. Left safety? Left. Huh. Gonna have to look that one up. That's rather embarrassing. Whatever. Lots of 3-star action here. So, again, a development kind of a thing. Sort of a project for good gracious me, what is his name? Coach of Rutgers. Wow, I can't believe him. Greg Schiano. Jeez. Last season started off strong and then knocked off 3 straight losses, or got knocked off 3 straight times for 3 straight losses, beat Indiana, and then just, man, boy. So, unfortunately for Greg Schiano, I'm pretty sure the last time he coached Rutgers, they weren't in the Big Ten. So now that they are, things just aren't going to go the same for them. And he's not going to be able to build them into what they were when he was coach before. So not exactly thrilled if I'm a Rutgers fan. That's for sure. Especially with UCLA and USC coming in next year. Yeesh. Northwestern, not looking much better. 3-star, 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 all really good development stuff. And you know what? Actually, so this will be interesting to watch because Pat Fitzgerald has taken teams full of 3s and a couple of 4-stars to the Big Ten championship game. I mean, they at one point had 2 Big Ten championship appearances when Michigan had 0. Okay, now all of a sudden, the last 2 years have gone by and Michigan's got 2. That's great. But Northwestern got there before Michigan. Northwestern has more championship game appearances, I believe, than Penn State at this point. I'm pretty sure. So it's interesting. I mean, Pat Fitzgerald is definitely known for taking 3-stars and developing them, or taking like teams that should, on paper anyway, have subpar talent, or not subpar, but like not as much talent as certainly the Ohio States, Michigans, and Penn States of the world, and yet doing some pretty interesting things with them. So if I'm a Northwestern fan, I'm kind of looking at this and just sort of shrugging like, yeah, this really isn't much different than what I'm used to. And we've gone to the Big Ten championship game with about this much talent before anyway. So what does it matter? So that's going to be interesting. Transfer ranking, Northwestern doesn't exactly seem like the type of place that a high caliber football player is going to transfer to. So this 192 ranking makes sense to me. But if I'm a Northwestern fan, probably wanted to see more from that composite ranking. I'm not going to look up their season because we all know how that went. Minnesota. And then I'll call it here, and we'll do a part 2 at some point. Maybe next week. No, we should do it sooner than later before this dries up. Minnesota, I honestly feel bad for Gopher fans because you got a good coach and you've had some really solid players. This class really should have been better. Oh, Darius Taylor from Walled Lake. I played a football game against Walled Lake when I played football in high school. So how about that? Yeah, if I'm a Minnesota fan, I'm a little disappointed by this class, to be completely honest. And I hate to say that because like these are kids, they're gonna try their best. The 3-star, like the star rankings, I think are just kind of like, ouch. But obviously it's a competitive sport and it's a business, and the team's got to have some metrics to be able to measure things by. The really interesting thing is the sheer number of commitments they've got. So they've got 9 enrollees plus 12 signed letter of intent. So what is that? 21 plus a couple of transfers here, 27. So 27 total recruits coming in. That's a pretty good number, I think, especially for Minnesota. I want to say, maybe I'm off on that. I don't know, but I think the point being that, I'm seeing, Darius Taylor's a running back. Greg Johnson's a linebacker or a lineman, offensive line, interior offensive line, I think. Kenrick Lanier, maybe, wide receiver. I mean, this is a lot of, oh, they got Droop from Walled Lake as well. I wonder if these guys were a package deal kind of a thing. They've got a lot of offensive firepower coming in, 3-star offensive power coming in. It looks like some interesting defensive players, I think, that might make a good addition. They're getting in some southern states here too. I know they've got Georgia, Florida, so they're starting to look down south a little bit for these 3-stars, which that's a good thing to do for Minnesota. I think if they really want, a shot at the West at the West Division rather, is to start looking for players that come from football states, and those states tend to be the southern states. Let's be honest. Let's see. Transfer wise, they're getting some guys from. Oh man, they've got 3 players from my alma mater. Sheesh, that sucks. Man, Western's going to suck next year. Western just fired their coach too, so Western Michigan. So some decent, mostly offensive guys here as well, although you got an edge rusher, a safety, a linebacker, so I guess that's even split between offense and defense. Spent a lot of time on Minnesota, but it's kind of an interesting class to me, just thinking about where Minnesota is, and I think what many people expected Minnesota to be when PJ Fleck showed up. I feel like you guys probably expected a Big Ten championship game appearance, at least at this point. I don't know about a win necessarily, but an appearance at the very least, I think, would have been helpful. And honestly, like, this kind of a stretch, the loss to Purdue, the loss to Illinois, and the loss to Penn State really don't make sense when you've started off a season like this. I mean, you have a 4-0 start and then you lose to Purdue? So that's just kind of curious. The Illinois game was always going to be a tough game, but that should have been winnable. And then I feel like by the time they lost 2 straight, they didn't stand a chance against Penn State. And then this makes no sense. This Iowa game makes no sense. I don't know. Maybe somebody was injured. I don't know. But they should have been in the West Division. Or they should have been in the Big Ten title game. Anyway.
Team rivalry reaction.